On December 7th, 1972, NASA made the blue marble image of Earth, the most reproduced image of all time. A photo of the Earth from space is undeniable evidence that the Earth is a sphere. But is this really a photo, a composite of different photos, or just a painting? Since the Apollo 11 mission to the Moon, globe imagery has been used by so many governments, companies, television programs, films and websites that it's nearly impossible to go a day without seeing. There is an unspoken desire to perpetuate this image on mainstream media. In 1989, two psychologists named J.T. Cacipo and Richard Petty concluded that low to moderate levels of repetition within a message tend to create greater agreement with the message. This is common sense.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
In the decades since Apollo 11, computers have become more affordable and photo manipulation has become faster and easier with tools like Photoshop. Hypnotic 3D video effects can now be created in minutes with very little training on computers, affordable to schools. The timeline of advances in CGI correlates with the definition, three-dimensional effects, and sophistication of the globe imagery we see from NASA. NASA have released a lot of imagery of Earth, but often there are anomalies in the size of countries, the glow around the edge, and duplication of cloud formations. By NASA's own admission, every image of Earth since the blue marble in 1972 is a composite. So if NASA are to be believed, there is only one photo of Earth from space in existence. Following the narrative that we live on a sphere, it is necessary to distort the appearance of the Earth in order to create a map in 2 dimensions. There are various methods of creating map projections, but they all warp the size, shape, direction, bearing, distance or scale of land masses. Perhaps the most commonly used map of the world is the Mercator projection. This map stretches the north and south poles to appear across the top and bottom while crushing the appearance of land masses along the equator. For example, it shows Greenland as larger than Australia, when in reality, Australia is more than 3.5 times as large as Greenland. The size and shape of countries, as well as the GPS coordinates and magnetic north, can be easily proved by millions of people travelling across them every day. So the evidence in favour of the Mercator projection's accuracy and warping effect is undeniable. Google Maps works as a navigational tool. This is highly subjective, but one criticism that I have with the Mercator projection, and lots of other similar projections, is that the southern equator looks like 3 triangular flaps that could be folded inwards to create a kind of origami globe. It doesn't look like natural, randomly generated land like the northern hemisphere or clusters of islands. It looks contrived. In 2015, Eric Dubay uploaded a series of videos to YouTube that questioned the ball Earth idea. Aside from the evidence against NASA, Eric highlighted a few natural science observations that prove the Earth to be flat. Spinning objects have momentum that force everything not firmly attached to the sides to fly off. Imagine a tennis ball covered in water, or a children's roundabout powered by a motorbike engine. Therefore, the downwards force should be very low on the equator and develop into a weaker diagonal force closer to the poles, but this is not what we observe. We are told that outer space is a vacuum, yet the clouds, water, and everything not firmly attached to the Earth's surface do not appear to surge away from the Earth's surface to balance the pressure differential. The Bedford Level experiment and variations on it prove that the Earth is flat. A 6-mile stretch of the Old Bedford River in Cambridgeshire, England is perfectly straight. Observing boats 6 miles away from just above the water level should not be possible if the Earth is a sphere, yet they are. In 2016, John McIntyre uploaded a video to YouTube. In this video, he visited the Shining Rock Wilderness, a mountain region in California in which multiple mountain peaks align horizontally. He concluded that the Earth was flat because from his location, The peaks of Greybeard, Pinnacle and Bald Knob Mountains appeared according to their elevation behind the peak of Frying Pan Mountain, whereas they should have appeared much lower if the Earth's surface is curved.
Then Greybeard Mountain should not even be visible. And so maybe Greybeard should be right there.
Following the flat Earth revelations, the Lambert Azimuthal equal area projection has become a popular flat Earth map of the world. This is the projection used in the Gleason's map and the Azimuthal equidistant map. This circular projection shows the North Pole in the centre, with the South Pole as a giant ice wall around the outside. This projection is also used on the United Nations logo. On December 1st, 1959, 12 countries signed the Antarctic Treaty, which sets aside Antarctica as a scientific preserve. All land south of 60 degrees latitude is unpopulated, and strict controls are in place regarding public visits. This makes it very difficult to disprove that Antarctica is not a giant ice wall surrounding all other countries. There is, however, one major problem with the Lambert Azimuthal equal area projection, and that is the distortion of the size and shape of Australia, New Zealand, and all landmasses south of the equator. So we've reached a state of cognitive dissonance. The evidence pointing towards a flat Earth is inconsistent with the evidence regarding the size and shape of Australia, following the widely adopted flat Earth map. This has led many people that have never visited Australia to deny its existence, and those that have visited south of the equator to dismiss the flat Earth theory altogether. It has even led some towards the idea that we live on an infinitely tessellating map, or a Pac-Man map, in which travelling west of America will teleport you to China without you knowing. It's much more likely that a flat Earth map is achievable without contradicting any of the evidence previously mentioned. An important factor to account for while reverse engineering the globe is international flight paths. The internet has given rise to live flight tracking websites that show the precise location of international flights in real time. These sites generally show locations relative to the Mercator projection. However, there are certain areas on the map, generally the sea in the southern hemisphere, where flights disappear and tracking information is hidden. According to Wikipedia, Charles Sanders Peirce created the Peirce Quincuncial projection in 1879. However, the image used for this projection on Wikipedia has been created with Reykjavik, Iceland in the centre, rather than Greenwich in London, which was chosen as the prime meridian of the world in 1884, just 5 years after this map projection was created. So there are 20.2 degrees of error counterclockwise, showing in the image used on Wikipedia. This causes New Zealand to appear really far away from Australia. I used to live in Auckland, New Zealand, so I know for a fact that these two countries are within a 3 to 4 hour flight from each other. This is very misleading. The Peirce Quincuncial projection is very easy to derive from the equirectangular projection. You simply need to download a piece of software called Mathematica, created by a company called Wolfram, and run the following code. This is a very simple equation, and with modern computers could easily be used to convert our location on the flat Earth into GPS coordinates in real time. When calculated with Greenwich in London at the centre, the distance between Australia and New Zealand looks accurate. The sizes, shapes, distances and scales of landmasses seem to make sense from what we know about flight paths. The formation of land looks natural and fractal. It doesn't look like it easily folds into a ball. The directions between countries differs quite a lot from the Mercator projection and the Lambert Azimuthal equal area projection. The part where exaggeration of scale amounts to double that at the centre is in remote areas of the sea and only about 9% of the map area, the areas where flight tracking websites hide the GPS locations. The bearing north appears slightly incorrect at the equator and below it, the most extreme example being the west coast of Namibia, where the magnetic north seems to be 33 degrees east compared to the line of longitude. I propose that this is an accurate representation of the two-dimensional flat Earth. I've spent a long time creating this image by outlining the land masses using Adobe Illustrator to show you the correct version of this map projection with a stylish design. I believe that Antarctica is a huge circular ice wall around the outside, but I'm not going to illustrate that in detail as the exact shape of the land cannot be verified easily by the general public. You can download my flat earth map of the world for free from bitcoinempire.io. If I've helped any of you better understand the flat world in which we live, you can donate Bitcoin anonymously to the address on the screen and on my website. Thanks for watching.